Welcome to 2025, where anime has become an undeniable market that moves millions of dollars, and with that, the fight for exclusivity is all in, and Dragon Ball, being one of the biggest animes in the world, even without being directly tied to the big three, is huge. And with that, we know the return of the anime will come soon, and the battle for its rights will also be massive. What will be the fate of Dragon Ball? And where will it settle? We know that wherever it is, we'll be there, together. Thought I was joking? Do like Julius. Wherever our videos with information are, there you are. So subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and activate the bell. Ever since the Dragon Ball Super anime ended its broadcast in 2018, fans of the franchise, created by Akira Toriyama, have lived between nostalgia and anticipation. The Tournament of Power arc ended the first phase of the new anime with a golden key, placing Goku and company at the center of a multiversal battle that boldly expanded the limits of the Dragon Ball universe. But after that epic finale, a gap opened, and for years, the manga kept moving forward alone, with no concrete sign of an animated return. Now, with official announcements and recent statements, the scenario has changed. The return of the Dragon Ball Super anime is real, and promises to be one of the most impactful events in recent Japanese animation history. And the burning question is, where will it air? Netflix, Crunchyroll, Disney+? The answer involves strategy, global consumption trends, and of course, the immense value the franchise represents today. The timing of the announcement couldn't be more symbolic. The death of Akira Toriyama in March 2024 shook not only the fans, but the entire industry. Losing the creator of Dragon Ball at the peak of his influence reignited deep emotions, but also reinforced the mission to continue his legacy. In recent interviews, Toyotaro, Toriyama's successor in the manga, revealed that he has already drawn the spines of several future volumes, with art that connects to form a panoramic image. He said, quote, "By the way, I've already drawn the characters who will appear after this, so I'll do my best to show them to everyone soon." End quote. This not only reinforces the long-term planning of the series, but also indicates that there is plenty of content ready for adaptation. And if there's manga, there will be anime. The new anime doesn't start from scratch. It builds from a solid base. The Dragon Ball Super manga has already adapted 3 full arcs after the Tournament of Power. These are the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc Moro, the Granola the Survivor arc, and the rebirth of Frieza in his Black Frieza form. Each of these brings not only new characters and epic battles, but significant evolution in the protagonists and the franchise's mythology. Goku and Vegeta are no longer the same heroes we knew. They've matured and become symbols of opposing paths of power. Ultra Instinct, guided by detachment, and Ultra Ego, fueled by pride and destruction. The Moro arc will almost certainly be the first to be adapted. In it, the villain is an ancient being with magical abilities, capable of consuming the life energy of entire planets. Unlike any previous enemy, Moro represents a mystical and cosmic threat. Goku begins training with Miras, an angel disguised as a galactic patrolman, while Vegeta heads to Yardrat, where he learns the forced spirit fission technique. This new technique allows him to dismantle fusions and absorptions, completely changing the dynamics of their battles. The peak of the arc is Goku's fight in complete Ultra Instinct against a Moro, who has absorbed even angel powers. The result is a battle mixing philosophy, sacrifice, and visual spectacle. The Granola arc deepens the emotional side of the narrative. Granola is the last survivor of a planet destroyed by the Saiyans at Frieza's command. He makes a wish to the local Dragon Balls and becomes the most powerful warrior in the universe, but in exchange for part of his life expectancy. Through him, Dragon Ball revisits the Saiyans' dark past, and Vegeta takes on his historical burden in a moving way. His transformation into Ultra Ego is perhaps the character's greatest growth moment. Meanwhile, the Heaters, a galactic merchant organization, manipulate conflicts, culminating with Gas also becoming the most powerful, until the arrival of Black Frieza, who defeats everyone with ease after 10 years of training in an alternate room of spirit and time. Frieza, now more threatening than ever, returns to the center of the narrative with intelligence and coldness that elevate him to the level of the greatest villains in fiction. These arcs, once animated, will not only bring back the adrenaline of stylized battles, but also explore new narrative tones, new dilemmas, and character development. The expectation isn't just for faithfulness to the original work, but expansion. Extra scenes, new flashbacks, deeper moments for characters like Broly, Pan, Goten, and Trunks, and perhaps even a link to the movie Dragon Ball Super. Superhero, which highlighted Gohan Beast and Orange Piccolo. But where will we be able to watch this long-awaited return? That's where the new configuration of the anime market comes in. Unlike 2015, when Dragon Ball Super premiered on Japanese TV and was distributed in parts by Crunchyroll and Toonami, today streaming platforms fiercely fight for the rights to major franchises. And Dragon Ball is not just big, it's one of the biggest. Netflix, for example, has already made clear its intention to become the global home of anime. It has heavily invested in titles like One Piece, with the live action, Baki Hanma, Record of Ragnarok, and Castlevania. The presence of Dragon Ball Z Kai and other franchise movies in the catalog in some countries indicates an already established relationship with Toei Animation and the distributor. If Netflix secures the rights to stream the new Dragon Ball Super anime, it's likely they'll go for simultaneous dubbed releases, something that has become standard for them. And considering the series' global appeal, this could include Brazilian Portuguese, Latin Spanish, English, French, Italian, German, and other languages right at launch. However, they are not alone. Crunchyroll is still the largest platform dedicated exclusively to anime, with a history of streaming Dragon Ball Super and the trust of more traditional fans. It is also a strong contender for the new anime's release. Disney Plus, although a later entrant in the market, has secured rights to series like Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, and Tokyo Revengers, showing it's willing to compete heavily for exclusives. Given this, it's possible that Toei might opt for a fragmented distribution model, where different platforms have regional rights. Netflix could take Latin America, Europe, and parts of Asia. Crunchyroll, in turn, could keep exclusivity in North America and Japan, and Disney Plus might enter specific markets like South Korea or Southeast Asia. There's also the possibility that the anime will premiere first on Japanese television with weekly episodes and be released globally on streaming platforms shortly after, just like One Piece. Regardless of the platform, what matters is that Dragon Ball Super is coming back in style, and its return will have the power to move the entire industry. We're talking about a franchise that, even after years without anime, still delivered 2 blockbuster movies, Broly and Superhero, sells millions in manga and licensed products, and maintains an active, multi-generational fandom. For fans, this means much more than just new episodes. It means seeing the heroes again in their most powerful and mature versions, discovering new striking characters, revisiting emotions and battles that marked our youth, and seeing Akira Toriyama's work continued with respect, but also with the courage to evolve. And it's not just the old audience that will be impacted. The new generation, who grew up watching Super on digital platforms, will now find a direct continuation with superior technical quality, modern animation, vibrant colors, immersive soundtrack, and above all, a narrative with real dramatic weight. The fight is no longer just for planets, but for identity, redemption, and legacy. In short, the return of the Dragon Ball Super anime marks the beginning of a new era. Whether on Netflix, Crunchyroll, Disney Plus, or wherever, what matters is that the saga will remain alive and more epic than ever. It is the moment when Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Frieza, Granola, and so many other characters return to teach us, amidst beams and explosions, about effort, overcoming, destiny, and above all, transformation. Because Dragon Ball was never just a story about fights. It is a story of evolution. And this return, more than necessary, is a consecration. The way Dragon Ball will be distributed around the world may determine not only its reach, but also its commercial success, engagement, and penetration into new and old audiences. Historically, Dragon Ball has always been a franchise present in various media and broadcast channels. From open television to digital platforms, Goku and company have gone through countless formats. With the advancement of streaming technologies, the series found a new home, and with that, conquered audiences on previously unimaginable scales. On Netflix, for example, there were moments when titles from the franchise were available, such as Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super, especially some films like Dragon Ball Super Broly, which even ranked among the most watched productions on the platform in countries in Latin America and Europe. These audience peaks demonstrated the franchise's enduring appeal and opened doors for future negotiations. Although today the rights are more aligned with platforms dedicated to Japanese animation, Netflix, being one of the most popular services in the world, with a consolidated presence in over 190 countries, has become an essential showcase for any intellectual property that wants to reach the mainstream. When Dragon Ball Super was in the catalog, even for a limited time, It was enough to generate a spike in related searches, an increase in the consumption of licensed products, and a flood of new fans who were being introduced for the first time to the universe created by Akira Toriyama. Social media was taken over by reactions and memes about classic moments and iconic battles, many of them coming from people who until then knew Dragon Ball only by name. The presence on Netflix facilitated this initial contact, especially in regions where access to specialized channels or other platforms was more limited. However, it's important to recognize the fundamental role that Crunchyroll currently plays. Since the rise of otaku culture as a global mainstream, Crunchyroll has established itself as one of the main streaming platforms dedicated exclusively to anime. With simultaneous dubbing, quick subtitles, and exclusivity deals with major studios, the platform has become the natural home for titles like Dragon Ball Super. Although it wasn't the anime's first home, Crunchyroll is now seen as the strongest candidate to stream the new episodes when the return is finally released. The company has already formed several partnerships with Toei Animation, including Dragon Ball Daima, which had a significant presence in its promotional channels and in the broadcasts of trailers, previews, and themed events. Dragon Ball Daima, by the way, is a crucial point in this equation. Released as a parallel project, in tribute to the franchise's 40 years, Daima brought Goku, Vegeta, and other characters back to childhood in a proposal that mixes action with a lighter aesthetic and retro traits, reminiscent of the early days of Dragon Ball. Its reception was mixed at first, with part of the audience finding the more childlike tone strange. However, over time, the series began to win hearts, especially from a new generation that didn't grow up with Dragon Ball Z on broadcast TV, but rather with tablets and phones, and found in Daima a more friendly entry point. On Crunchyroll's social media, the number of likes, comments, and shares related to the series grew exponentially with each new teaser or announcement. The engagement was so great that reaction videos, trailer analyses, and theories about the series' mysteries dominated platforms like YouTube and TikTok for weeks. This phenomenon demonstrates that the audience is still hungry for Dragon Ball content. Regardless of the approach, and more, they are willing to consume this content wherever it is offered, as long as it's with quality. That's why both Netflix and Crunchyroll know the golden potential they have in their hands as they compete for the rights to broadcast the new phase of Dragon Ball Super. There are also rumors that Disney+, which has already been investing in Japanese titles like Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, might want to enter the dispute, offering an even more aggressive distribution in terms of global marketing and simultaneous dubbing in several languages. Although this is still in the realm of speculation, it's not hard to imagine a scenario where Dragon Ball Super could be available on multiple platforms regionally, with specific agreements for each territory. With that, the new season of Dragon Ball Super presents itself as a turning point for all these platforms. The choice of where the anime will be released first, whether in simulcast, with weekly episodes simultaneous to Japan, or with full seasons launched all at once, may directly influence the commercial success of the project. Toei Animation, for its part, will likely opt for a mixed strategy, allowing streaming with temporary exclusivity on one platform, such as Crunchyroll, followed by later release on others, such as Netflix or even Amazon Prime Video, depending on regional agreements. Audience expectations are high, and the way the anime will be promoted will also be crucial. Netflix has a history of major marketing campaigns for strategic anime, as happened with One Piece, live action, and Baki Hanma, and it would be natural to see something similar if the new Dragon Ball Super enters its catalog. This would involve dubbed trailers released on official channels, banners on the platform's main homepage, social media campaigns, and perhaps even premieres in partner cinemas. In the end, what really matters is that Dragon Ball remains one of the most beloved franchises in animation history. Its return to anime, amid a golden age of streaming, represents a historic opportunity to win over a renewed global audience and to prove, once again, that the strength of the Z Warriors knows no limits. Whether on Netflix, Crunchyroll, or another platform, the world will be watching. The question now is no longer if Dragon Ball will return, but where and how this return will happen. And the answer to that question has the potential to shape the future of anime as a whole.